You know, everything about the modern age is all about convenience. It's all about getting more from doing less. It's all about having services over interactions. As helpful as it is to have the internet and everything that comes with it, I do feel like we're headed into very strange, inhuman territory. In the last 200 to 300 years, humanity has gone through almost a full metamorphosis from, not having electricity or cars or industry, and definitely not the internet, to now everything has kind of come full circle, so much to the point where the only other place to go is in an anti-human direction. First it was farm stands, then it was convenience stores, then it was grocery stores, and now you have services that I use personally where you can pay other people to do your grocery shopping for you. And that is a sign of the times. And I do think that is actually a great service because it helps out people who can't or don't want to go to the grocery store. And it also gives other people a job. So it's helping out the economy as well. But that's simply man interacting with man via the internet. But with artificial intelligence, let's just think about that term, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of gray area in life, but there's also some extreme black and whites. And the term artificial, just right from the start, it just doesn't sound like worth it, right? Artificial sweeteners, gross. Artificial reality, fake, gross. Things that are not true, not real, not authentic, not genuine. The opposite of what we all should be striving for. The term artificial in artificial intelligence is the perfect description for what it is. Thank God that we're not trying to fool ourselves and calling it, human intelligence, because it's absolutely not. Now, I'm all for innovation. I'm all for technology. I'm all for conveniences, right? But at what cost? And for the record, I'm not an expert on AI. I'm coming at this from a very old school perspective. I've never liked the idea of AI. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good idea. And if I go even further down the rabbit hole, I might even consider it to be, if you're of the biblical persuasion, I might even consider it to be part of the beast system. Mark of the beast system in Revelation, in the Bible, the Antichrist. I'm eventually going to get around to music, but I find it interesting that humanity goes forward and forward and forward and forward and forward and forward, and right now we're at this weird intersection or junction where it's we've done everything we can do to better ourselves as a society. We have industry, and we have a means to get food, and a means for transportation, and a means for power and communication and technology and business, and there's an ebb and a flow to everything. But the powers that be apparently aren't satisfied with that. They want to push the envelope. They want a post-human future, or a non-human future, where now at the zenith of the mountain, the highest point of human excellence, is something that's not even human to begin with. It seems very anticlimactic, right? You work hard through the decades and the centuries to go from the horse and carriage all the way to the airplane and the spaceships and everything that's going on, and all the aerial technology and the cars and the trucks and all that transportation type stuff. And everything we can do with the internet as people, where there's people on either side of the transmission. But now all of a sudden, at the height of it, at the very apex of what we're able to accomplish, is something that's not even human. That just seems so backwards. It just seems so, like I said before, anticlimactic. It's like we've made it to this place, the highest level of human innovation via technology and information, etc., etc. And the only thing that's going to be there to show for it is artificial intelligence. I personally don't think that AI is cool, because it takes the humanity and the humanness out of the transaction. You know, there might be some cases where like an AI type system might be good, whether it's data collection or processing of something that's just so boring that a machine can do it. But when we get to the place where AI meets music, that's where I really have a problem. Forget the pros and cons of AI just as an idea. Forget the biblical ramifications of this system, if you believe in that or not. But I'm here really to talk about the music aspect. And what is music, essentially? Music is amazing because sound itself is vibration. And whether we know it or not, we are all vibratory beings. We are all bags of water and electricity. And this whole universe vibrates. It has resonance. It has flux. It's to and fro. And music itself is a demonstration or manifestation of that world that we don't necessarily see, that's happening around us all the time. And I really feel like having AI write music is just so unnecessary and completely disrespectful to all of the great musicians who have come before us and the ones that are currently alive today. Now, you could argue that this won't affect the future of music, but just since 2020, I've noticed things about reality that are just vastly different. And I don't think they're a good thing. Music should be inspired by life. A living being, a person, a human should take from their experiences and put it through their funnel. And they should be inspired to create music based on their experiences. Music is organic, human, it's emotional. These are all things that go against the idea of AI. Now, AI may be an amazing, the thing that is amazing, I find YouTube itself to be amazing, right? Like, hundreds of thousands of videos are put up every day or every few days or whatever it is. It's probably even more. And this computer system can deal with it, and it can field everything and put it where it needs to go and do this and that. And that's amazing. But maybe that's its place to do that kind of thing. I don't think we need to disrespect the craft of music, the musicianship of music, the humanness of music by having that same type of program now pretend that it knows how to feel and experience things. I'm against AI music. And other than anyone thinking that it might be cool, because it is cool, right? It's interesting. The fact that somebody thought up this idea to begin with is very interesting. The fact that we're in a place now where we're in such a postmodern era that this thing is actually unfolding before us is very interesting. The fact that they can send a space shuttle up into space to the moon or to Mars or wherever is amazing. I don't necessarily think that it's necessary. I mean, we got enough BS going on right down here in our neighborhoods. Why are we messing with out there? Why don't you brainiacs put your brain cells to good use here and maybe make life better here instead of going off into the far reaches of places we have no point even being. Kind of the same thing, right? AI is cool. What an invention. It's amazing. Holy, worship the person who created it. It's absolutely phenomenal. But, I don't think it needs to exist specifically for the sake of music. And like I said, there's other aspects to it. I could do 5 videos on this. But it really bothers me because music has taken such a nosedive in the last 10 to 15 years anyway. I mean, the most popular artists on the planet, your Taylor Swifts and your hip-hop this and, whatever that, it's very uncreative as it is, right? Where's the creativity? I think giving this potential to AI just basically takes what remaining creativity humanity has and just ties it up in a bag and tosses it into the garbage. For what it's worth, that's how I feel. Final thoughts. AI is cool. AI is amazing. What a technology. It's amazing that somebody could think this up and then make it happen. But does that make it necessary? This is the end of humanity as we know it, whether you acknowledge it or not. When a band like Metallica starts out, they're hungry for success. They've got anger, and they've got trauma, and they've got passion, and they're excitable, they're young, and they've got their whole lives ahead of them, and they write some of the greatest music of their career. 35 years in, they're putting out garbage music. And part of that is just natural evolution, but the other part of it is they've kind of burned out on their creativity. They don't have that drive anymore. They don't have that reason. They've already made their millions. Maybe they want to make more millions, and that's why they keep doing it. Maybe they're tied in with the record companies. Maybe the record companies are basically holding them hostage to keep doing it so they can keep making albums and keep getting paid, and the cycle continues. But, music is at such a crappy level as it is. Do we really need to take the essential element that is the human being out of music? I think I've made my point. I'm rambling at this point. If anybody's still here, please hit like. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you violently disagree with me, then rip me one in the comments. Thank you guys for watching.